AZcrypto with Mr. FOMO. Today, we want to talk about how you want to be tuned in to the show as much as possible and why you should be excited about Bitcoin despite the last 7 weeks. I know it seems crazy. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, bell notification. Thank you, and for joining us. Thank you to everybody. Anytime you can share the show, hit that subscribe, smash that like button. We greatly, greatly appreciate. Obviously, the store and super chats are open. So, Mr. FOMO, we are going towards tomorrow would be 8 weeks of negative price action just under 74K. However, this is going to be a positive show because we've got some newer developments that make me extremely bullish for midsummer into fall. And I know it's only mid-May and it's only a matter of time. So let's talk about it. First big set of news comes from the state of Wisconsin. And I'm not talking about the new running back for the Wisconsin Badgers, Mr. FOMO. The state of Wisconsin Investment Board bought $99 million of iShares of Bitcoin ETF. Why does this matter? This is number one, right? And we know eventually things will follow. Now, what I posted back on X was that this will be common in 4 years or sooner. And the question is, how sooner? I don't think the state of Wisconsin is going to be the only one that does this. Not in this cycle. I expect some states to follow. How many? I can't tell you. Is it going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? I don't know. Eventually, you will get all 50 states. I don't think that's happening tomorrow. I don't think that's happening a week, but it definitely is coming. And that's billions of dollars eventually into the market. Eventually, that could turn into trillions, right? Depending on how much these states invest. I even was listening to an investor that talked about how they only had 1% of their allocation. This was a very wealthy investor into Bitcoin, and they were planning this summer to increase it to 5%. Now, is it a coincidence they said this summer? Not right now. I don't think so. Guys, Bitcoin is coming back, and it's coming back strong. In fact, thank you, Ant. We really appreciate that. In fact, Bitcoin will be back above 75K before you know it this summer. I'm still saying worst case scenario, 90K, definitely 100K by 2025. This is just one of the reasons why we're going to get in today. But Mr. FOMO, this is big news. And we're going to look back in a few years and see how big this is when more states join in.
Yeah, my initial reaction to this was, wow, Wisconsin is leading the way on this. The cheese state, no way. But they are definitely leading the way. And game theory suggests that there are going to be states that follow. Now, this is the Bitcoin ETF, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
We're not talking about actually buying Bitcoin.
But it's exposure. Yet. It's the first step.
Exposure, right? It's the first step. It's dipping your toe into the Bitcoin waters, and so it's good to see American states doing this kind of thing. Until now, we've seen other countries dipping their toe into the water or diving in head first in some cases. But it's good to see the U.S. starting to get on board with this, because I think that just means, like you said, trillions of dollars eventually heading towards the Bitcoin and crypto market. And so I think this is a really good thing for the market to see this happening.
Yep, and this is the first step. And remember, you got to walk before you can run, and you got to run before you can sprint. And so
this kind of leads me to something that I wanted to talk about. For me, coming up, and I know we're not a political show, but when we're voting this fall, and we have elections coming up this fall, just in case you've been hiding under a rock, when we're voting this fall, we want to look for candidates that are crypto friendly. I'm not telling you how to vote, who to vote for, what party to support, but I am telling you, take a look at these candidates, take a good hard look at them, and see who is going to be the friendliest to your crypto, because that's going to be important moving forward. It's going to be something that we should all take a good hard look at, whether they're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. I don't care. I'm not supporting any of them. This isn't a political ad for anybody, but what I am saying is take a look at what their views are on crypto, because that's going to be important for you and your portfolio moving down the road.
Well, what you're going to see is reports that the economy is doing better because there's an election on on the horizon, and that will help Bitcoin. And the anticipation of the election, not knowing who's going to win, that will help Bitcoin. So I'm glad you brought that up. So no matter where direction you're going, the election will be pre-election, I'll say, will be a positive thing for Bitcoin. Now, I wanted to mention something else that's critical here. And this is more about the short term. The Wisconsin thing is a long-term play, but this one right here, and let's not pretend that this isn't a big deal here. Let me share that with the show. So you remember Vanguard was very hesitant to get into Bitcoin. Well, guess what?
They were openly anti-Bitcoin.
They just appointed Salim Ramji, who is the former head of BlackRock's global ETF business and one of the leaders in launching BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. There you go. That's going to be money coming in right now in the immediate future, very soon, probably for the next 48 weeks, right? Oh, what does that coincide with? Bitcoin recovery. How do you like that? Coincidence? I don't think so. All right. So we talked about this. Worst case scenario, Bitcoin recovers mid to late July. I think it's going to be sooner, but that's like full recovery. But we talked about the alts going sideways. I'm going to talk about one I brought up just the other day in a little bit on how it's getting closer to my target here because I want everybody to prosper on the show. This is big. This is big for this summer into fall. More money coming in, and the list is going to grow, guys. You're going to see more and more positive news as we get closer to midsummer. Just watch. There's been a lot of FUD. There's been a lot of negativity, and it's going to start turning around. And now you're going to see, and we've seen it just recently, right? Even in the last hour, in the last day, Bitcoin started to recover a little bit. Okay, so if you look, this is actually the 24-hour here. You see we're back up to 62.4. Now, if you zoom out, you wouldn't be so negative. If we zoom out, Mr. FOMO, look at that. Look at a year ago, we were sitting at 27K. So as people cry, and I get it, right? 8 weeks is a long time. But don't get tricked into thinking the bull run is over. It is not. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But that gives you perspective right there. When you see that to this day, a year ago, and I'm sure we were doing a show, if we go back to the archives, we were at 27 thinking, how soon are we going to get to 64? Now we're crying about 62.4. Think about that.
It's a wild. That's why it's always good to zoom out and take a look at the bigger picture. A lot of us have been very emotional about the Bitcoin price since it reached its all-time high, but Bitcoin is going to do something new. It's going to do something new and exciting, and it's going to happen towards the end of this summer, if not earlier, because Bitcoin has already been doing things that it was expected to do, but on an earlier pace. BTC made a huge move to an all-time high before the halving already. That's never happened before. We've also had now 2 months of negative price action with the halving being right there. That's never happened before, with the halving right in the middle of it. So Bitcoin is doing all new things, but what we can count on is that the cycle is not over. We have not seen the amazing things that Bitcoin is going to do for this cycle. And I fully expect us to get over 100 this cycle, 100 to 125, like you were mentioning earlier.
Put up Tennessee's comment because it's interesting. Yesterday, GameStop had some action and it was stopped from trading. That's one of the things about the regular market that I absolutely hate. They can just pause trading anytime people are making a ton of money. And they had hearings about doing this. So this is one of the good things about crypto is this can't happen. Well, you could have Luna just keep printing supply, but that's a whole nother issue. But they stopped trading. And the last time this happened, a lot of people made money on GameStop. Bitcoin, and it was during later part of a bull run, did do very, very well. Now, this was well after the halving, because I remember that greatly. This was more the winter after the halving, but great point, Tennessee. That some of that money that people made could definitely go into Bitcoin this summer, and that could also help with the rally that we expect. What I was going to say is we're complaining about 62.4. Don't be surprised in February if we're complaining about 95K because we were well over 100 and we went back down. So just some ideas here.
And remember, we have a lot of money that could flow in and out of the market coming up. There's 11 billion in BTC from the Mt. Gox debacle that's going to come back onto the market, or it's going to go back into people's
But
hands.
I don't think those people are, I don't think a lot of those people are going to sell. If they're smart and they're savvy, hopefully they're watching the show, they'll know now is a horrible time to sell it. By the way, if you're brand new into crypto,
Well,
let me say this because we have some brand new viewers. Don't sell your Bitcoin. Don't sell your ETH. Don't sell your Solana. These are things that you should be accumulating right now if you can, not selling. And if you've bought at higher prices, don't worry about it. Hold on to it.
I mean, you're talking about people who have been missing this for years. And so I think even if I was staking for a year, yeah, I don't not even if it was just taken from me like it was in this, but if I was just staking something for a few years, I would be bound to sell it. But on top of that, you also have 14, somewhere between 14 to 16 billion in checks that should be going out to FTX customers. And so there's a chance that could offset any of the selling that happens with the Mt. Gox Bitcoin, because a lot of that money hopefully will go back into the market and spur the market into new all-time highs.
And let us not forget July/August. Hopefully, Voyager customers like ourselves get that money back, and we can put that back into the market. And I just think, guys, July and August and September are going to be pretty explosive into October. So here's what I'm leading into. Do not get suckered into thinking that the bull run is over. It is absolutely not over. And when it comes back, and it's going to come back with vengeance. And here's what we need you to do. We are close to 2,000 subs. So if you could take a moment today, sometime this morning, sometime this afternoon, for watching this evening, share the show with anybody that you know that's not subscribed. We really, really appreciate the support, and it helps us grow faster when you guys share. So if you could take a moment, share the show. If you have not done so, please hit that subscribe button, as that really helps us pump out content. And let me tell you, the bull run is coming big time. We want you guys to prosper with us. By the way, I just want to say this really quickly. Injective is down to 21. My target is under 20. There's a little under 95 million of Injective in circulation. So that's one I want you to be aware of. Again, it's not going to be the biggest mover, but it's going to, when it bounce back really well. If you can pick it up at 20, either end of this week, early next week, end of next week, I think for entertainment purposes only, it's going to be a great purchase. But again, if you want us to share more content, please do us a gigantic favor. Not only hit that like and subscribe button, but share the show with other viewers so we can have them jump on board as well.
That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and we appreciate every single one of you. We appreciate the super chats, and we appreciate everybody that's been shopping at the store. Keep buying up that merchandise.
Absolutely, guys. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. See you, everybody.
See you.